This is a Human Collective podcast. This is episode 6.
We succeeded in extending the human sight far beyond the horizon. It's not even human.
Hello humans, this is the Human Collective podcast with me, Ross Taylor. For 30 minutes each week, I'll be chatting to my friends in arguably the weirdest industry on planet Earth, TV and film. This week I was joined by my friend, filmmaker and TV and film spark, Nathan Carson. Nathan is a long-time friend of mine that got his start in TV on ever-returning BBC series Casualty as a lighting assistant, and after a lot of hard work he moved up the ranks and on to greater pastures with some of the most loved TV shows on our screens, including Doctor Who, Gavin and Stacey, and even a wee HBO series called His Dark Materials. Nathan is a perfect example of someone who manifests his goals into reality. And we chatted last week about the importance of keeping your circle full of people who inspire you. Nathan is certainly one of those people to me. So I won't tell him that, of course, so let's keep that one between us. Enjoy! Nathan, how's it going, man? Thanks for coming on to the podcast. How you doing?
Yeah, cheers, man. Doing good. Doing really good. Been speaking to you for the last 20 minutes, which has been really nice. Getting us set up.
No, don't let them know what goes on behind the curtain. No one knows what's no.
Oh yeah. We just clicked play there, and then we just came in like this.
Yeah, I like your headphones. I wasn't sure if you were going to be doing a podcast or landing a plane.
Well, I've done both this morning, mate. You know that's my part-time job.
Oh man, you're a multi-talent. You got to be pretty talented to work in TV and film, isn't that right?
Yeah. Do you know what's funny about these as well? They're like noise cancelling, so I can hear myself, like, and it sounds a wee bit mad.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It sounds pretty freaky, but yeah. How you keeping?
Dude, I'm doing all right. Just keeping busy, like, but you know, this has been a good opportunity for me to touch base with all my buddies in TV and film and see how they're getting on. What was the last thing you were working on before COVID happened?
I stopped. Like, I was just doing dailies in this show called Spanish Princess, which is like an American Henry VIII kind of thing, and so I was just around castles in England, man. I've seen a lot of England I never thought I'd see, like. You know, honestly, there's some castles I could tell you how to put some cables through in an effective manner, you know, and I've done that more than once. So it was great, and like the lads were such good crack in there, like we've so many good memories, and I started working on that. I was just doing days, man, and then just ended up working near every day on it, like, but really good bunch of lads on there, and just had such good crack. And then I've done like a couple other different things since I seen you, but like they would only be like a day or two, so you know, I would just do work anywhere.
You've been pretty solid with work since you got your first break into TV and film. Backtrack, because a lot of the people listening they're obviously not going to know you like I know you, but me and you obviously go way back.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big deal, so they should know me, but I'll give them leeway.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they've learned their lesson after this podcast. They'll get to know you well.
Better.
But Nathan, if you can tell me just what exactly your job is in TV and film, and then tell me about your first job in TV and film after that.
Okay, so I would be a spark on set, an electrician, lighting department, whatever whatever one you want to categorize it under. So we just control all the power really and get the lights set up.
I like that.
It's the best job on set. Anyone who says any different, well, you know, like director's a pretty good job. Like that'll be the easiest job on set. Sorry, not the easiest. You know, I mean like the handiest. You know, but like in terms of crew, you know. It's pretty good going. It's pretty intensive though, so like that's why I like it. It's quite a laboursome job. You're lifting a lot, you're moving a lot, you're doing lots of things. It's very interesting.
It's really hands on, isn't it?
Oh man, completely. You're thrown into the deep end. You know, boys who've been doing this 40 years or something, you're still, even I've only started maybe the past 2 years, maybe two and a half, mate. And like, you're doing, you're trying to achieve like the same level and like the same look that these lads are doing, or like the same. These are just all chipping in, and like it's just such a good environment. Really, I haven't bumped into anybody in my department, at least, um, that hasn't been dead on and sound and really helpful.
Your
And I'm so
first
lucky that I fell into this department. Really.
and your first gig in TV. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so mate, I just got in like with the Irish charm. Like anyone listening from over here, like it works across the water. Mightn't work over here, you know what I mean? Everyone's got a wee bit of Irish charm over here, like, but across the water, use it to your advantage. Um, and I got like onto like a junior lighting operator job role at Casualty and BBC. Um, and I had always wanted to get down BBC. I just didn't to get working there because I went to uni in Cardiff. So you have like they have the big building down the bay. And it's big brand new studios, and they shoot Doctor Who in there, and they shoot Casualty. And I remember I'd be in uni, and I'd take wee walks down the bay, and I'd be like, I have to get a job in there before I leave Cardiff. And so I done my degree, done a master's then, and I slaved in a pub the entire time, and then I just kept on chipping away and applying for things. And then luckily enough, this was one of the job roles I applied for, and it was actually the first one they ever gave me an interview. And I told myself going in, I was like, if this is the only shot I've get, I've gotta do it. I've gotta take it. It's mine for the taking. No one else is going to take it from me. And lo and behold, I got it. And then I started working on Casualty for about a year as staff, as training. I guess like a trainee staff member, and I was really looked after by all the lads there. They probably think it's embarrassing I'm talking about this like this, but hey ho. But yeah, I was really looked after, and then I was freelancing. Like your staff contract's up after a year when you're trainee, so that's you thrown out into the big bad world, so to speak. But luckily enough, I'd become pretty familiar with the whole Casualty setup. It's a really, really good training ground there. Um, and I managed to stay on there for 6 months. And then by the time I'd saved up and bought my first car, which is the key really to being freelance, you need a car. I don't know how I survived. Do you know what I mean? I just survived on luck really, and just people liking me. Um, and then when I got my first car, man, it wasn't long before I was out doing different jobs, uh, and then you just put in a good shift, and you work really hard, and then other people get you in for bigger jobs, and then I eventually left Casualty, and I go back every now and then, but I just get days on all these other jobs, and like I said, everyone from my department I met and others as well, like, has been so sound. But mate, I remember before I would have a car, I would lie to lads who book you for work and stuff. I would lie to them and say like I had a car, and I would just get the bus to like Bristol at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd just like walk up the set as if I had just parked my car around the corner. Do you know what I mean? And then when they're like, "How are you getting home?" and I'm like, "Oh, I know a mate. He lives around the corner." I didn't know anyone. I just flipped and got the megabus back to Cardiff at like 2 o'clock in the morning. But I knew if I put in a good shift, when I do get a car, these lads will give me work. And lo and behold, that's what happens. Sometimes you gotta be prepared to get that megabus and treat yourself to wee McDonald's at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Can I just request that, Fergus? I would like this quote. I want this quote to be somewhere in my visuals here in this screen, because that's extremely Northern Irish inspiration. Okay, that didn't work properly, but that is extremely inspirational Northern Irish language right there. Sometimes you have to be willing to take the megabus, and that is so true. We're going to take that megabus, the megabus of life, into all of our dreams. Woo!
Can you get my face on like a black background and then just have it like white quotations beside me?
Yeah, man.
We'll make it famous. Prepare to get the megabus.
Yeah, man. But look, I think what it says about that is that if you have a willingness to learn and get on with people, when you get your first break, it's one of those things that's gonna, like, the sky's the limit for how well you can do, because people want to work with people like that. I want to work with people like that, and it's obviously worked for you, so it's a great piece of advice for anybody who's looking to get in the industry and see, you know, in an industry that almost seems impossible to get into in a way. When you're younger, you just go, how the hell did I make that happen? How does that become a thing?
Mate, I didn't even know it was a job until I was like 18, 19. Do you know what I mean? You just think it's like people are just selected by being flipping random or amazing or something. You wonder, you're like, how is that even a job? Like, is DOP even a job? What do you mean? You know?
I know. It's like
strange
whenever you go to the cinema and you see this list of people, and it's like hundreds of people, and you're like, Jesus, is that how many jobs? Is that how many people it took to actually make that massive budget film, you know? And you never really, I've never, till I worked in TV, did I get a bit more of an appreciation. I always make an effort to watch the credits now, because there's loads of people who aren't in front of the camera that have done an exponentially enormous job to try and deliver this film or documentary or TV show. So I'm always keen. And as well, like, in high budget drama, and you know a lot more about this than I do, but there's so many different positions that have all these different names: best boy, gaffer, grip. You know, they're totally, like, they can seem a little bit alien to people sometimes whenever you're working in small budget documentaries, which are obviously a beast in themselves. But there's so much intricacy to high budgets and things like that. That's something I wanted to talk to you about, actually, and in relation to this situation that we're all in now. Last week on the podcast, we talked about how with factual TV, there's a lot of ways in which we can work things around. There's, you know, TVs are being delivered via Zoom call, but it doesn't necessarily work that way when it comes to the next Thor movie, or to, you know, the next Dark Materials series or anything like that. So how do you reckon things look from now on, and what is the way around this?
We're just gonna have to minimize the risk of obviously this whole Corona thing, and that's gonna be, well, that's up in the air at the minute. Like, how do you do that? Can you do that? You know, at the end of the day, like, you're not gonna be flipping watching a Thor movie that's gonna be filmed with Zoom, or, you know, handheld cameras running around Chris Hemsworth's house. And
it would be interesting, like, to be fair. I would watch it, but I don't know if it'd be any good.
Here, he's actually done a really good one. Like, it's on YouTube, where, like, they shot it in between, I think it was in between Thor 3 or something, where, like, he just plays, like, he's just got a job in Australia, but he's Thor, and he has a roommate and stuff. Check it out. I forget what it's called, but it's class. They've already done it, do you know what I mean? But in terms of, like, how they're going to do it, and I can only speak from, like, experience, really, of, like, before this all happened. Like, we had a sink on set, on location, sorry, and you were just told to, like, clean your hands as much as possible. And, like, man, not in a bad way, like, what I do especially, my hands get stinking, and sometimes you're out in the muck all day, you're out in the rain, you get stinking anyway, so you're washing your hands all the time. So I don't really know, man. I think, obviously, I'm off work at the minute. Hopefully stuff starts back up in like a month's time or something. I know a couple of boys working at the minute, but they're just doing rigging. So, you know, there isn't 100 people on set. It's just them rigging a studio. But we'll see, mate. I think all the super high budget things that have already missed their production deadlines and stuff. Obviously, you're talking about the Batman, Mission Impossible, Fantastic Beasts. They'll be like, in Jurassic World, they'll be like the first ones to go out of the gate, really, and set a precedent for how we're going to go. But, mate, I think it's going to be like everything else. We're just going to have to take the risk.
Do you know what it is?
Like, we've done that.
Like, sorry to cut you off there, but, like,
don't worry.
The thing I get from high budget things, from high budget film, TV, one of the biggest messages I get from all my friends who work there is that people are like, just suck it up and get on with the job. And there's no, it just feels like it's a massive, like, conveyor belt of, I mean, especially now, there's so much more risk. I just feel like people are, they're obviously going to have processes, but eventually people are just going to be like, look, we got to make this. Do you want to work or not? That's the feeling I get. You know,
yeah.
when you were working you know, the stories you tell me, like it felt like you could have worked hundreds of hours and it wouldn't have been enough.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like, but the thing is as well, and I don't mean to sound sad, and I'm definitely not gonna say anything that will give me work and anything else. But like, I've been in a lucky position where I've been working with people that I really like. So you want to work hard for them, and there's quite there's a good wee friendship there. So I don't really mind working that hard. You don't think of the bigger picture. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're so small on that pecking order of the crew or whatever, you're not thinking of like the final product. That's not your job. That would be the director's job or the production manager's job. Blah blah blah. Your job is literally to do whatever your specific department demands of you. You know, whatever your boss does. So you kind of get a wee bit of tunnel vision in terms like I'm just going to work hard for my boss who's telling me what to do, and you don't really think of like the final product sometimes. Sometimes you do, but on like smaller things or where you're a wee bit more, um, uh, you know, you're talking more to like the DOP and everything, you know. But in terms of sucking it up and just getting on with it, it probably will come down to that, man. And like I know a lot of people. Uh, I don't really know what people say, like whether it's a good or bad thing, because like you've kind of got to do that anyway to get going anywhere in life. Do you know what I mean? If you didn't have to suck up and get on with it, you know, would you get anywhere? Would you have taken any of the risks you've taken by applying for schemes or anything? You know, I'm sure you'd be like me, where you obviously we've talked about it before, like, but you know, you don't think you're good enough really to get into this type of industry. You want in, but you're like, how do I go about? Where do I? And sometimes you just got to suck it up and go, right, I'm just going to apply myself to this as best I can, and if you know, and I'll just try my best, and it's worked so far.
Absolutely,
So
man.
linking back to Corona, no idea.
Yeah,
No idea. But
it's hard. It's an incredibly difficult question to answer. Like, and I think at the end of the day, you know, we all will do what we can, and
it'll be the same as going to a pub. If you think it's not safe going to a pub, you won't go. If you don't think it's safe going to work, you won't go. You know, people are just going to have to decide whether they want to take the risk or not. So
dead on. So Nathan, whilst you've been in lockdown, there's bound to be a few TV shows that you've been watching, and I am absolutely dying to get some new TV shows to watch, because I have absolutely turned the whole TV world upside down and I need some new shows. So Nathan, you're very, very lucky, because today you get to tell me what is your top 3 lockdown classics.
You've already seen them. You 100% you've already seen them, man.
Okay. All right, well, hit me. I'll tell you if I've seen them or not, but do fire away.
Well, number 1, the lockdown king himself, Tiger King. Everyone watched that, man. If you didn't watch that during lockdown, like, where were you? You know,
Absolutely.
I'll buy you a Netflix subscription just to watch it. You know,
absolutely cracking watch. Can 100% recommend, and I also have seen that. What is number 2?
Number 2, can I just pick things that I watched like randomly, like they didn't come out during lockdown?
Go for it.
I'd probably say, because we've been working so much, like I was just catching up on loads of stuff I missed. So, like, have you seen Irishman?
I have seen Irishman. Yes. Is that your number 2?
Yeah, I'll stick that as my number 2.
Okay.
Mate, I could go on here. I could give you bloody 50 things I've caught up on.
We do not have time. We don't have time for 50. So I'm going to take number 2 as The Irishman, and I will also piggyback on that and say, if you've got 4 hours of the day that your girlfriend will let you have, and if she watches it with you eventually, then go for it, because I did.
Mate,
but it took a long time to get her around to watching it with me.
Yeah. Well, at least you did. Like,
yeah.
I went the mini-series approach, which I know people might go, that's not the right way to watch it, but like, I love Scorsese anyway, so like, I'll school you on facts with him. But
number 1, give me number 1.
Number 1, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I never seen it in the cinema because I was too busy working, and then finally got around to watching it, and I thought it was amazing.
Class. I've never seen that. Actually, I haven't seen that. That's Ryan Gosling, isn't it?
No, once that's La La Land, another sick watch, by the way. And I hate
Oh no,
musicals, but
wait!
La
I
La
have
Land's
seen
amazing,
Once
man.
Upon a Time in Hollywood, man.
Once upon a
Oh yeah,
time's
it's class.
Tarantino.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like I know it got like a lot of mixed reviews and stuff. Like some of my friends and stuff like had mixed reviews, but I thought it was I thought it was really amazing. And that and Irishman are two epic length films that like I finished it and was like I could stick this on straight away and watch it all over again.
It's amazing, and it's sorry, not Scorsese. Tarantino's films are they're brilliant in so many ways. But one of the reasons why I love Tarantino is that you can rewatch it, and you do take away different things from the first time. The first time, usually, I'm
Yeah,
trying to kind of get a good sense of the story and the acting, and you get a bit lost in it, you know. But I think the second time around, you just get even more immersed, and you really appreciate how great the acting is and how incredible the shots are, and wow, amazing. And if you have any, if you weren't, some people will have watched it and they might not understand 100% on the kind of story and the twists and stuff at the end. Just look
yeah.
into the Sharon Tate murders, I guess, which is, you know, pretty synonymous in American history. But if you didn't know about it, it's better to know about it first and then watch the movie.
100%, 100%, man. I was pretty clued up on the whole thing. I'd read like books about it before, and then yeah, without spoiling it, it's better if you go in knowing that like period of history in Hollywood. Um, Although like he cast, who did he cast? Was it Damian Lewis from Homeland? He cast as like Steve McQueen. That was the only one where it was a wee bit like, yeah,
Bit of a mess. So moving on, and this is one of my favorite segments, because I know for sure that you're gonna have something for me. This is my favorite segment of the podcast. It is weird TV tales. So Nathan, I want you to hit me up with your weirdest TV tale because I believe it's the weirdest industry on planet Earth. So hit me up.
um, weirdest one. Well, um, there's a couple, but I'm not going to say them in case I lose my job. Um,
Well, you can always crack a few out, and
probably,
I can edit out another one.
yeah, yeah, you can pick the best. Probably the weirdest moment, man. Not like weirdest story. I don't know what other people are saying on here, but like you said, like you you wait so long and like you work so hard to get into it, and you think like beforehand, like oh my god, like when I'm on to be on a set itself, you're like that would be mad, that would be mental, and then like once you're there, and then you realize, oh hold on, this is a job, and it's just part of your daily life now. You know, things just become normal. And I remember we were doing some show, and like they were filming a sex scene, and like you would think beforehand, you'd be like, hold on, if they're doing a sex scene, I'm gonna be like, you're just gonna wonder what it's like. You're gonna be like, oh, inquisitive and all this stuff. Be like, how do they do this? How like listening to the director, you know, like how are they gonna go about doing this and blah blah blah. And I just remember, man, I was just sat on like right behind the flip-in set that they were doing all this in and making all the noises and stuff. I was just sat there on my phone wondering why my National Lottery app wasn't working and getting really annoyed, going like, why? Come on, just accept my credit card. And do you know what I mean? Like, there's always like flipping moaning and stuff going on in the background. They're giving it stacks and everything. I just didn't care. You know what I mean? I was more like, why can I not do my numbers tonight?
Mate, you could be. There's something about it. Whenever you moved over to Cardiff, there just was something inside you that became more Northern Irish. You know, like whenever Spider-Man starts to become Venom. I think this is what happened to you. I think when you started working on high budget films, it was a bit like a Northern Irish Venom sort of thing. Started like going over your face and your body, and then all of a sudden you're in a sex scene with the biggest stars in the world, and you're looking at your lottery numbers, going, for fuck's sake, where the hell are they not working? Like,
I don't you bloody accept my credit card, you fuck. Yeah, that's mate. That's what it's like. But see, to be honest, man, see, as soon as I left home, like you never. I can 100% bet I'll be the only person that's ever walked through Cardiff city centre and had Len Torntop. You know, I'll take that credit all day, and I'll be proud to.
mate, that's it. Like, and you know, when you go overseas, I'm sure you have that sort of sense of identity with being Northern Irish and being maybe different than the rest. But I'd like to think that you're setting the bar for Northern Irish workers over wherever we are, and the people are speaking highly of all of us whenever you're over in the mainland.
I would like to think so. I think we're all like sick crack, and we obviously all work hard. I just think that's like very ingrown with our like upbringing and stuff. Um, we're just a very like working class country, aren't we? So like it rubs off, you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I love it. But mate, I'm a stereotype. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when they're like, "Oh, what pint do you want? Guinness?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do.
Do
I
I?
just, I do. I. Oh, what did they say on the radio? Like mate, I'm trying to. I don't really drink coffee, but like to work in TV, you kind of need to drink coffee because you know there's only so many times the lads can ask you what you want in the coffee round.
You
And
need
you're
that
like,
pick me up, man, don't you?
Can I have a bottle of water, please, or a Coke? And they're like, all right. So like I go for a maca, and everyone just takes a piss out of me on the radio, saying like, 4 flat whites and a maca, please, mate. And I call everyone mate as well on the radio. But here I just think it's good crack.
Yeah, man.
Be born without it.
You have to have a good sense of humor, like, don't you?
Yes.
You shut up. Shut up. Shut up when I'm talking. So my final segment, Nathan, was this one. I think you've done a pretty good job of answering for me, but I'm interested to know if you had any kind of resources, tools, or experience or advice for any of our sort of listeners who are interested in smashing through the door just like you did. And is there anything that you want to sort of advice wise give to anyone listening?
Yeah, just get a Northern Irish accent.
We could just get a dialect coach and
here, mate. Everyone over in the mainland thinks they can do it, so give it a
do
give it
they?
a whirl. Oh, of course they do.
Oh man.
How now, Brian Kai and all that nonsense.
And they
or
can't.
potato.
It's a good thing you didn't give up your vowels. You know, you still say it the wrong way, the way it should be said. You know, tile and vile and bile.
Yeah.
Kai. You know the whole thing.
Kai. No. On a serious note, if I was actually to give like some advice to anybody who's like listening and like hasn't was where I was like 2 or 3 years ago, you just gotta like not lose sight of what you want to do, and you just gotta keep on applying, and you just gotta keep on putting yourself out there, but knowing your worth. So like, don't be doing something where like. Do you know what I mean when I say know your worth? In terms of if you're good at something, you won't do it for free. But if you are going to do stuff for free, make sure that's something you actually really want to do, and you think it's going to benefit you, and you're invested in it, and you don't mind if nothing comes of it. You know, like I do like easy comedy videos on the side, not because I want to become like this, like a viral comedy star or whatever. I just have like wee funny sketches in my head, so I just try and get them out. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not expecting anything from it. So like, but the main thing I'd be is just like, just don't lose hope. And it's really good if you look up stories of like, like proper professionals and stuff, and of like great actors or great writers or great directors who maybe just didn't, they had to work really hard to get where they were. You look at Harrison Ford. He worked on set before he was an actor. You look at the writer of Del Boy. He was a chippy on set, I believe. So I just would say, just if you haven't got anything yet, just keep on chipping away, because it'll come eventually.
Absolutely, man. I think that's like top class advice. And on a serious note, knowing your worth is one of the most important things that you can do in this industry, because you will be looked down upon if you don't know your worth. If you do too much stuff for free, or like if you're breaking your back, you're making other people's lives hard. And that's the thing. Like you learn very quickly when you get in is to know your worth, really. Absolutely,
Don't be doing stuff under the rate. All that nonsense. It's self-explanatory.
Well, yeah, you know yourself. Like, from whenever you go through a scheme and then all of a sudden you're a freelancer, or if you go straight into being a freelancer, you're gonna have to say to somebody, "This is what I'm worth," and this is what I'm bringing to the table. And if you don't know what that is, if you can't sit down and say to someone why you're worth that amount of money that you think you should be paid, then you're going to lose out on certain opportunities. And people respect you if you are upfront and clear.
Absolutely.
And you hold your nerve. As some of the best advice I've ever been told is from my mum, and she says just hold your nerve and back yourself, and think about what you've done to get there. Think about your own journey. I think what your story tells me is that everything you've done prior to getting into TV, it was all part of the bigger picture of getting in, and getting all the skills that you have, whether it's believing in yourself or having an obsession with shows that you want to work on, and divulging that content and sort of understanding as much as you can about the production process before you even get into through the door.
Man, some people get in, they don't have really an interest in TV or film, whatever. There's some people who just get in and they're really lucky that way. But for someone who's interested, like if you work really hard to get in, once you're in, you'll just appreciate it like so much. And like yeah, man, like I used to work really in a really shitty job in a pub, like just clean, like yeah, it was a nice pub to work in, I guess, but you're still dealing with arseholes, cleaning up sick, cleaning up shit, and but me, the entire time while I was doing it, I was like, this is going to make me appreciate a good job so much more. And I used to walk through those halls at a pub, like in the cellar and everything, and it was always in my head, I'll be out of here and I'll have a really good job soon.
Absolutely.
And lo and behold, I got lucky. But when luck presents itself, you got to be ready to take it, and you can't be afraid to shy away.
Perfect, man. Absolutely stellar advice from somebody who I hold in such a high regard. You're a great friend of mine, and you will be for a long time. And I hope that I can eventually work with you at some point down the line. Two Northern Irish Egypts working together. Imagine that. So
yeah, write that down.
Yeah, man. Listen, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. It's been a pleasure. I hope to see you when all this shit calms down. And yeah, man, thank you for coming on again.
Yeah, no worries, bro. Thanks for having me. Hope haven't rambled on too much for you.
Oh, well, it's a good thing that you haven't rambled on too much, because I have a timer that tells me when I need you to stop, so that's about that time. So, man, it's good to see you. But here, listen, like take care of yourself, and thank you for being on the HC pod.
Yeah, cheers, man.
It's not even human.
See ya. Thank you for listening to the Human Collective podcast. Remember, like and subscribe our YouTube channel, and follow us on Spotify for all future podcasts.
This is the Human Collective. You know it.